What's up, Knicks fans? We are so excited to announce that this summer, Fanatics Fest is returning to New York City, taking over the Javits Center from Thursday, July 16th to Sunday, July 19th. Meet your favorite athletes from every major league, including current New York Knicks like Josh Hart, Jalen Brunson, Karl-Anthony Towns, and Knicks legend Patrick Ewing. Catch live podcasts and panels featuring some of the biggest names in sports while experiencing interactive activations from top leagues and brands. You can grab exclusive merch and discover one-of-a-kind memorabilia from sports and entertainment. Buy, sell, and trade collectibles with hundreds of top dealers. Connect with fans around the world who share your passion for sports. Tickets are on sale now at fanaticsfest.com. And when you use promo code KnicksFilm10 at checkout, you'll get 10% off your purchase. It's an extra day of the world's #1 sports fan festival coming together under one roof, and you don't want to miss it.
Welcome to the Knicks Film School Postgame Show presented by Fanatics Sportsbook. Got to take him seriously now. You got to take him seriously. That's just all there is to it. No matter what they've done, no matter how crazy they drive us when they don't show up for games that we would really, really, really like them to show up for. Despite what I would term as maddening inconsistency from game to game, from week to week, from month to month. And despite the fact that there are so many occasions that they don't live up to what you would think the talent says they should consistently live up to, there is enough about this team that you just can't write them off. I wrote him off a couple weeks ago. I said I couldn't wait to write him off for good, and I was dead wrong. And that's the only way to say it. I was dead wrong because this team that they face today, like I know they're young, and this you could argue, and I'm actually curious to get into this discussion. I'm looking forward to having it today about what kind of a matchup the Spurs are for the Knicks, because despite the fact that New York has just given them their second, beaten them pretty convincingly for a second time, because I thought by the time all was said and done in the NBA Cup final, like that was a pretty convincing win. Obviously, 25-point victory today. And, oh, by the way, you take away those last 8 minutes against the Spurs on New Year's Eve, and the Knicks were not dominating that game, but like they were, on track to make it 3-0. Despite the record, I actually think the Spurs can do a lot of things, and we certainly saw those things that the Spurs can do and did right out of the gate against the Knicks, or in particular the Knicks starters. We'll get into that too. The Spurs could do things just like they could do things against most teams. They could do things to the Knicks that really challenge them. And I think you could argue that they're not a great matchup for the Knicks. So I don't want to hear that this is a matchup thing. The only thing I want to hear about today from anybody commenting on this, and again, I said it after the NBA Cup, and I'll say it again now because we know what's going to be the case. After the NBA Cup, I predicted for you on the spot, people are going to make this about the Spurs and not the Knicks. People are going to say, oh, it's a nice win for the Knicks, but boy, oh boy, look at San Antonio. They're on the come up. Are they ready yet? Maybe they're still too young. Maybe they need another year of experience. What great experience this is going to be. Yada, yada, yada. And that was the conversation. And it's going to happen again after this. It's going to happen again after the Knicks just went into Madison Square Garden, a place that obviously they have a very good record this year, but it's not like when they step foot on their home court, it's an automatic win or even an automatic play good performance. We learned that against Detroit a couple of weeks ago. And they absolutely dominated this team. They dominated a team that had not lost in a month. They held a team to 89 points that had been averaging 125 points a game in February, a month in which, again, they had not dropped a single game. This was the sort of performance that makes you believe. I mean, I feel like we've said it 100 times. I guess this is going to be number 101. If this team, forget even about firing on all cylinders, because they weren't firing on all cylinders today. They ended up shooting 35% from three and 44% overall. This is a team that I think you could actually make the argument before this game that they had become too dependent on the three-point shot. And if you want to go look and sort their Basketball Reference game log by from lowest to highest three-point percentage, you're going to see a lot of wins up top and a lot of losses at the bottom. Like 35% is okay. But I thought for a lot of this game, they were not shooting it particularly well. They were shooting it around 30% at the half. They had a pretty good shooting performance in the third quarter, which helped them overcome some, the one portion of the game was a little bit inconsistent from them. Again, out of the gate, we'll talk about that too. We're going to talk about everything. But this was not them coming out there and just hitting a bunch of shots and beating the Spurs that way. They outplayed the Spurs. They out-executed the Spurs. And perhaps in the most shocking statement that I have made, in a positive way at least, in quite some time, they out-defended the Spurs, and it wasn't close. I know this team, and I think I wrote about. I think I mentioned this at the top of the newsletter after the win in Milwaukee on Friday night. We've been waiting for it. It took 60 games, but the New York Knicks were finally a top 10 defense after that win against the Bucks. So it's not like we're talking about a bad defense. You cannot accidentally trip and fall and smoke and mirrors your way into a top 10 defense after 60 games. Doesn't matter how many teams there are tanking in the league. And for proof of that, just go look at what the Knicks defensive rating was for that 2-9 stretch when they were below all of those tanking teams. So the 10th in defense is real, but still, this is a Spurs team that, they don't put a bad defender on the floor, really, at all. Like, everybody that they put on the floor is at least a capable defender, and they have the best, most gifted defender in the sport, although I think the Knicks did a pretty good job not shying away from Victor Wembanyama tonight and continuing to try to exploit San Antonio's attempt to exploit the personnel that the Knicks had on the floor. And yes, I'm talking about Josh Hart and those lineups. But Wemby's the best defender in the league, and he's backed up by all of these very gifted defenders, including, by the way, Stephon Castle, who absolutely gave Jalen Brunson all that he could handle tonight. And the fact that Brunson still finished with 24 points on 16 shots is a testament to him. He's one of many heroes for the Knicks tonight. We're going to go through every one of them. But this Knicks team, for them to go out there and defend like that, where you want to talk about, it makes me think of the words of a former head coach who I was somewhat fond of. Whenever things weren't working on defense, and he would ask the question to himself, no one in particular, is the effort there and is the execution there? And if one of the questions was no, then I'm not going to change it. Well, guess what? Tonight, the execution was there. And oh boy, you better believe it, the effort was there. Now, was this one of San Antonio's better offensive performances of the season? No, absolutely not. And I guarantee you, Spurs Twitter, Spurs, I don't know if there's a Spurs film school out there, but whatever version of this there is in San Antonio, I'm sure they're not going to be happy tonight, and I'm sure they're going to be blaming their own team for this loss. I think they're going to be looking at a lot of things, starting with 22 turnovers, 7 of which came from Victor Wembanyama, he who could apparently do no wrong if you listen to the national broadcasts and the national media. So, yeah, they're going to be lamenting that. They're going to be lamenting 9 of 34 from deep. All of that is fair, and it's fair to point out that the Spurs did not have their best game. And yet, my favorite 2 words when I'm talking about this team in particular, and yet, this is the same Spurs team that ended up scoring 89 points tonight and getting blown out by 25 that got out to, I'm double checking it right now, I'm pretty sure it was a 19-7 lead. Yes, it was a 19-7 lead. So don't tell me that the Spurs just didn't have it right off the bat today. They had it, I thought, pretty well right out of the gate. And by the way, yeah, they got out to a 19-7 lead. The defense was great on New York's part. This, like, right out of the gate. The defense was never a problem this entire game. It was the offense that was the problem for starters. And then they figured out the Spurs defense some. But defensively from New York, again, there's a little bit of, was it the Spurs being sloppy or was it the Knicks defense? It's always going to be a little bit of column A, a little bit of column B. I would very soon give the credit to New York's defense for taking advantage of any potential opportunities that the Spurs offense gave them. And again, you cannot say that, the Spurs just had a brain fart today. They were due, 2 days off. I'm sure we're going to hear about 2 days off in New York. I'm sure we're going to hear about a 1 p.m. game after 2 days off in New York. I'm sure we're going to hear about all of that. Don't give me that bullshit. Because you know what? You can't give me that on one side of your mouth, and then out of the other side of your mouth, all of the stories that have been written about and all the podcasts that have been talked about the Spurs over the last month. They're ready. They're professional. They take this stuff seriously where other young teams don't. They're more mature than your typical young team. Again, it was everything I was kind of lamenting before about what the talking points are going to be coming out of the cup, out of this game. Don't give me all that bullshit. The Knicks came out there, overcame that 19-7 lead, and absolutely put it to this team in a way that I really don't think anyone has in a while. I mean, we could look really quickly about the Spurs' worst losses of the season. I don't think you're going to find many worse than this. In any case, so main point, got to take him seriously. There's going to be more games where they're not good. We know it. Why? Because this is the team that they are. They're going to give us the mixed bag. But for me, and again, I've spoken about it so many times, I really don't want to talk about it anymore. We know what it was. That Piston game wasn't so much that I was just frustrated with the performance. It was that game, in my mind, and that moment said something about their ceiling and made me question their ceiling of it, the ceiling of a team that could not get it up. So, no pun intended, in that game, in that spot against that team. And you know what? I guess all that has to say, and I'm not saying it's because Detroit is some unholy bear of a matchup that the Knicks can't beat, because I refuse to believe that. I think what it says about this team is when they get up for games and when they don't, when they execute and when they don't, when they put forth peak effort and when they don't, there's just no rhyme or reason to it. Because what you can't say at this point, capital C, cannot say about this team at this point, is that they're incapable of going all the way, because they have multiple wins against the San Antonio Spurs. They've beaten the Houston Rockets. They've beaten the Denver Nuggets. They've beaten the Minnesota Timberwolves. They've beaten the Los Angeles Lakers. I've just named 2 through 6 in the West. The only team I didn't name is Oklahoma City Thunder, and that's because they haven't played the Oklahoma City Thunder. And then going over to the East, yes, we know the story with the Detroit Pistons. They've beaten the Celtics twice. They've beaten the Cavs twice. They've beaten the Raptors twice. They've beaten the Sixers once, unless I'm forgetting one time. But they've beaten the Sixers, and they beat them by 51 fucking points. They've beaten the Magic twice, if you still consider them a team to be reckoned with. So they've done it enough. Oh, they did beat the Sixers twice. I'm forgetting. Maybe the other game was earlier this season. So yeah, they've beaten every notable East team outside of Detroit multiple times. They have the resume. It isn't a perfect resume. We know that. But if that resume includes the sort of performance that we just saw, you can't toss it out. You have to leave it in the pile. You have to have it be one of the final candidates that you're considering for the position of 2026 NBA champion. And it's not a big pile. They have to be in there. And why do they have to be in there? And now we could get into some of the specifics of this game. And I find it almost perfect because, look, there's been a lot of blame thrown around, but every time we really get into deep dark depths of our feelings about why this team occasionally is not what we want it to be, we always go back to the same place. We always go back to the summer of 2024 and the decision to remake the team and go all in on this starting five. Part of that decision may have been a result of necessity because Hartenstein was gone, which they knew, by the way, that he was going to be gone when they made the Mikal Bridges trade, for anybody still under any misgivings about that. And they went all in on this starting five. And it changed the complexion of the team. It changed the character of the team. It changed the locker room, certainly. And it also changed the talent, and it added talent. And too often that talent has not lived up to their end of the bargain. And today, not only did the talent live up to their end of the bargain, but the extra stuff, the ethereal stuff that again, when we really get mad, the stuff that we're really missing. And for the talent portion, Mikal Bridges, you don't always show up to the party, but when you do, man, you make a grand fucking entrance. 25 points on 17 shots. That stat line is deceiving because he had 25 points. It felt like he had closer to the 40 points that he had on Christmas Day, a little bit more than a year ago. The biggest numbers for him are 5, as in 5 made 3-pointers, 5 steals, and if you want to throw 5 rebounds in there as well, throw 5 rebounds in there as well. A team high plus 21, although there were a lot of good plus minuses tonight. It was as good a game as he's had all season long. And yes, I know that there is something about this matchup with San Antonio. I don't know what it is. Whatever it is, he seems to like playing this team. That's fine. It's not that this is the only team he shows up against, but boy, you could count on good performances from him when they face off against each other. I actually want to go. His whole game was amazing. Defensively, he was amazing. Shot making, he was amazing. He was the best player in the game for the Knicks. I would argue he was the best player of the game overall when you consider Victor Wembanyama's 7 turnovers. I want to go back because the thing that I think I accuse Mikal Bridges of very often is sometimes when the team needs him to step up in a bigger way that encompasses more than the little things, right? We know he does all the little things, but sometimes you need more than the little things. So, as I've been fond of saying lately, sometimes you need the big stuff. And look, no one's going to care about this basket when they see the final score, and maybe it didn't end up mattering that much. But we as Knicks fans have watched too many games, and we are too well versed in this team to know what a third quarter of doom when we see it. And when they came out there at the top of the third quarter, there was an unease about them on the offensive side that was unmistakable to me. And who scored the first basket of the third quarter? It was none other than Mikal Bridges. It was a very quick release. And how quick was his release? All game long. Corner 3, after they had just made a very nice defensive play, because, again, the defense never let up. And he made it over the outstretched arms of Victor Wembanyama. And if you want to know how difficult it is to shoot over the outstretched arms of Victor Wembanyama, just go talk to Josh Hart, and he'll tell you just how challenging that is. So, it was like a very calming shot for me in the moment. And he hit, it seemed like every time they needed a big 3, he hit a big 3. So that was awesome. And then the next guy that I want to talk about, because it's the other side of the summer of 2024 coin, is Karl-Anthony Towns. And I'm not saying that Karl-Anthony Towns was the second best Knick tonight. I'm not saying he was the third best Knick tonight. I'm not even saying, well, yeah, I guess I am saying he was the 4th best Knick tonight. You're not going to know that from the stat line. You're not going to look at 5 for 9, 12 points. Yeah, 14 rebounds, but we know Cat can get his rebounds a lot. It's my theme of the season for Cat. And this is what I was referring to when I was talking about that extra something. That's something that can't be quantified. That's something that you know it when you see it. That's something that Isaiah Hartenstein always brought, which is why there are people like me out there who are still, pondering what would have happened if he hadn't played himself into that contract. Whatever that other stuff is, Karl-Anthony Towns had it in spades today. Played within himself, did all the dirty work that the Knicks needed him to do, did every little thing that they could have possibly asked of him. Defensively, never let up. I never for 1 second in this game was like, oh, we got to get Mitchell Robinson in there. We got to get Towns out. It's time to bear down on defense. Cat was awesome by his standards, certainly, on the defensive end. And then, you look at 14 rebounds, and look, is Victor Wembanyama a great rebounder at this point, even with his height? No, he's not. But to go out and have 14 rebounds, including 5 on the offensive glass against a team with that monster out there, and he did 14 rebounds in 28 minutes. So, look, yeah, there was the little stretch there in the early in the third quarter with a couple of offensive fouls. You're always going to get a couple plays like that from Cat. Did he go out there and dominate the game offensively? No, he didn't dominate the game offensively, but if you better believe that the Spurs were accounting for him on every single possession. And you know what we didn't get from Cat? We didn't get any periods in which he was actively detrimental by commandeering offensive possessions in a negative way. We didn't see any crazy offensive, or any drives. There was one shot at the rim that I could not believe didn't go down, but that's a shot you want him taken every time. I thought Cat was phenomenal. 12 points in all. I thought Cat was phenomenal. And then in between my best and fourth best players of the game, of course, are going to go Jalen Brunson and OG Anunoby. And I'm going to be brief with talking about JB and OG because there's nothing to say. We know Jalen Brunson could be an incredibly gifted offensive player. And the ways he was, and again, go back to the first quarter when this thing was ways away from being decided. What did the Knicks need over the second half of that fourth quarter or first quarter? They needed someone to just get them some buckets because this offense didn't know it couldn't shoot its way out of a paper bag. And Jalen Brunson was like, okay, don't worry. I got this. Ended up scoring 11 consecutive points as part of a 15-2 Knick run. I would argue it was the most important 11 points of the game because it really turned the game around. He had a 5-point possession thanks to a couple of Dylan Harper fouls. Harper's going to be one hell of a player. He's going to be an all-star, the whole thing. Still got a little bit to learn about defending the very best in the NBA. And then OG Anunoby, defensive player of the year level performance from him today. I thought Mikal Bridges needed to do everything he did to overtake OG for me for player of the game because OG was that good defensively. To go out there and have to wrap your mind around for a second. This Spurs team, are they perfectly built? No. They're probably lacking a little bit of shooting, despite the fact that a lot of their guys are having very good shooting seasons. So it's not that they're impossible to guard, even though they have averaged 125 points a game in February. But they have paired the single most devastating matchup nightmare in the sport in Victor Wembanyama with arguably the fastest guard, with the ball in his hands at least, in the sport, in De'Aaron Fox. Or he's top 2 or 3 at this point. Those two guys can beat you in every different way possible. And OG Anunoby spent time on both of them tonight. And that's all you got to know about OG Anunoby. So look, the formula for the Knicks, we're talking about Mikal Bridges, we're talking about Karl-Anthony Towns, we're going to talk about Josh Hart and Mohamed Diawara and Landry Shamet, all these other guys in a second. Mitchell Robinson, very good game for Mitchell Robinson, all that stuff. Their formula is so simple in some ways. It's Jalen Brunson being one of the best offensive players in the sport and OG Anunoby being one of the best defensive players in the sport. If those two guys do those things and everybody else more or less does their job, the Knicks they're going to win, 4 out of 5 times against good teams. So we got that tonight, and that was awesome. And let's finish up with 2 Trying to think if there's anybody else. Shamet off night shooting, but I love what he gave them in every other facet of the game. Jose Alvarado, again, both him and Shamet today, proof of the old Tibbs saying you don't have to shoot well to play well. Shamet 3 of 8, Alvarado 1 of 4. Both of those guys were awesome. There was zero defensive drop off in terms of their intensity. Robinson, peak defensive Mitch, I thought, in a lot of ways, and they couldn't keep him off the offensive glass, even though you only got 2 offensive rebounds. A lot of times, what teams put forth that effort to prevent Mitchell Robinson from getting offensive rebounds, it opens up other things. And not a coincidence, the Knicks as a team got 18 offensive rebounds today. Mitch's fingerprints are all over that. But let's finish up by talking about 2 guys who are very, very different and had very different games, and that's Josh Hart and Mohamed Diawara. The Diawara excitement at this point, I'm not sure it has been higher. He had the higher scoring game earlier in the year. I think it was against the New Orleans Pelicans, if I'm not mistaken, where he came out and he had a bunch of threes in the first quarter and he ran the score up. Well, due respect, that's the fucking Pelicans. Doesn't matter. Not that it doesn't matter, but it's the Pelicans. To go out there and do what he did in 15 minutes, all but the last 3 of which probably, I guess, were garbage time. Or not garbage time, excuse me. So 12 real minutes against these Spurs and be a plus 18 and score 14 points. And yeah, did he take a few threes? Yeah, he took a few threes. But the most impressive thing to me about this kid is that he's the 51st fucking pick. Not the 21st pick, not the 11th pick. Shit, if you're the first pick in the draft, I don't know that you're going out there and attempting 13 threes in 15 minutes against a team that was undefeated in the previous month. The confidence coursing through this kid's veins is absolutely off the charts. And you cannot, to me, have a conversation about his ceiling. Give me all the points you want about, I don't know if I still believe in the shot, and the offensive game is maybe a little, still needs some development. I'm here for all of that. If you give me this level of confidence and you give me the work ethic that, based on everything we've seen and heard, the work ethic is absolutely there. You think back to Summer League, what did he say when he was first asked about, like, oh, what are you thinking about? What are you concentrating on? And he's like, yeah, I'm going to dive on the floor because, defense is what's going to get me on the court. So when you have all those things, I'm buying any stock there is to buy. He was an incredible asset for the Knicks tonight. Again, only went 5 of 14 overall, only went 4 of 13 from deep, but the 4 threes he hit, man, they were important. He makes stuff happen. He makes stuff happen on both sides of the floor, which you absolutely love. And that only leaves one player to talk about, and that's Josh Hart. So the first 5 minutes of this game, 6 minutes, whatever it was, that Josh Hart was in there, were probably, for me, the most painful 6 minutes of the season for Josh Hart. And it was painful in all the ways that we've come to know it to be painful, where they didn't guard him. They ignored him with Wemby, allowed Wemby to roam, completely cramped up anything else the Knicks could potentially do on the offensive end. And then when Josh Hart got the ball, he shot it. The shot didn't fall. And then once he very quickly lost confidence in the shot, tried to put the ball on the floor, committed a turnover or 2, attempted a 2, I think, that was blocked. I thought he came in the second quarter, played better. He was making more of an impact on the game, but still he attempted a couple of middies that Wemby got a piece of, one, if not both of them. Entered halftime shooting 0 of 7 from the field. And you're like, if it wasn't for Josh Hart having the half that he had, the Knicks would be up by 16, 18 points in this game. Was Josh Hart's final stat line any good? No. Well, he actually almost had triple-double, 10 points, 10 rebounds, 7 assists. So I guess it was kind of good. 1 steal, only 1 turnover. So, but 4 of 14, you don't love that. 1 of 6 from 3, you don't love that. But you watch Josh Hart go out there in the second half. And it wasn't just all about him. It was about, and I thought my favorite tweet that I saw during this game came from DJ Zullo. And I'm pulling it up right now because I retweeted it, where he said the Knicks might have to. Oh, sorry, the wrong tweet. DJ was on a lot of good tweets this in this game, but he's basically saying that the thing with Josh Hart is you have to. He is worth the pain, and the reason he's worth the pain. Here we go. Josh Hart is figuring this out as a driver and a passer. Instead of benching the guy, take the gift of not being guarded and weaponize it. And it reminded me why even when Josh Hart has those stints where you absolutely feel like he's killing them, and in a way he is killing them, you're reminded why he is worth the continued investment. And that is because he is not Tony Allen. He is not Andre Roberson. Thank you, Andrew Claudio, who I needed to text to remind me what Andre Roberson's name was earlier tonight, and he reminded me. But he's not a guy that has no offensive skill, and that when teams ignore him, it's just going to completely devastate your offense. There are times where he loses confidence and he loses poise when he could effectively look like Tony Allen or Andre Roberson. And then you get into the bad periods. But there are other times, like you saw in the second half, where he's able to take what the defense and the Knicks are able to take what the defense is giving them and actually use it for the advantage that it should be. If you are completely ignoring a player of Josh Hart's skill, any good offensive team should be able to turn that around and take that as an advantage. And that's exactly what they did in the second half. And I give them a lot of credit. I give Jalen Brunson, who was the ball handler in a lot of those scenarios, if not all those scenarios, a lot of credit. And I give Josh Hart a lot of credit for working through those issues, because the solution is not to bench Josh Hart. The solution, there'll always be conversations about the starting lineup, as there should be. They are worthwhile conversations. But the notion that burying Hart is the answer, that's not the answer. It might be the answer sometimes. There are times where you absolutely are going to want to put that fifth shooter on the floor. But the answer is the answer of like Josh Hart can't be part of the solution to this team and a big part of the solution for this team to achieve their goals. That's not it. He's too skilled. He's too valuable. He does too many things, even when teams are defending him the way they are. And when they're defending him the way they are, there is no universe where the Knicks shouldn't be able to figure out how to use that to their advantage, which is exactly what they did in the second half of this game. And I'm thrilled for a lot of guys tonight. I'm thrilled for Knicks fans everywhere. I'm thrilled for myself that I got to experience that win. I'm thrilled for Mikal. I'm thrilled for the whole team. But the guy that I'm most happy for is Josh Hart, that it didn't have to go down like it looked like it was going to go down. And that he reminded everybody, like, look, I'm not a perfect player, but I'm still going to help this team win. And is it going to be an issue they're going to continue to have to grapple with moving forward? Yes. Just because they kind of figured it out in the second half does not mean they've solved, this thing, because other teams are going to do it and teams are going to throw wrinkles. So it's going to be up to the Knicks to continue to roll with it. But they did a great job rolling with it tonight. They did a great job in basically every facet of the basketball game tonight. For them to start off like they did, scoring 5 points in the first 6+ minutes of this game and end up with 114 against that defense on a night when they shot 35% from three, and Jalen Brunson had a okay game offensively, and Karl-Anthony Towns had 12 points. And again, to borrow a quote about another popular team in the metropolitan area, you got to believe. You have to believe in this team, because they keep giving you enough reasons to believe to counteract the reasons they give you not to believe. And that's just who they are, and that's who they're going to be. So we'll celebrate this one. Massive win, massive statement. And also, last thing before we get to the next segment here, important for them to start off this really tough stretch, because this is a very tough stretch that they're embarking on right now with the Thunder coming up, and but you could argue with how well the Spurs have been playing that this was the toughest game of this little stretch right here, with all due respect to the Oklahoma City Thunder, who obviously are awesome. But you're now 2 games up on Cleveland, effectively 3 because of the tiebreaker, and you're keeping, Boston at arm's length. So you like that as well. All right. I think that's it. Let us. Oh, wait. Hold on. No? Oh, no. Yeah, that's what we're doing. Okay. Hey, what one great Sunday matinee performance deserves another. We have next Sunday at Penn 6, that is Sunday, March 8th, our Brunchin' with Brunson, Knicks vs. Lakers watch party. You absolutely want to be there. It's going to be an awesome time, again, at Penn 6, right down the block from Madison Square Garden. Make sure you RSVP. It's up here on the screen. I will say it. tinyurl.com/KFS brunch. We're doing a $50 bottomless brunch. If you want, you don't have to get the $50 bottomless brunch. You could if you want to, which is an hour and a half, unlimited, basically every kind of breakfast cocktail you could want. And then the first 25 RSVPs receive a free bucket of neutral, which it looks absolutely delicious. So there you go. Brunchin' with Brunson next Sunday kicks off at 2:30 p.m. for a 3 p.m. tip-off against the Lakers and LeBron James and Luka Doncic. So that's that. Okay. And we got a FanCash Fanatics Sportsbook Super Chat. $25 in FanCash. I wonder why they chose $25. Let's find out. Likable win from a likable team. I will be 99 years old and I won't live this down. Knicks improved to 2-1 versus the Spurs this year. Here's $25 in FanCash to celebrate the 25-point win over the team that used to be on an 11-game winning streak. Check out the merch store and get your gear for this playoff run. Hashtag high ceiling. Hashtag Sohan revenge game. It's good. Whoever thought of that, that was good. Hashtag deep breath Macri. I got to get that. I got to have a little, people have Post-its on their computer screen. I got to have a deep breath posted on my computer screen at this point. And then hashtag don't stop believing. I love it. And by the way, $25 in FanCash for a 25-point win. And how about also $25 for number 25? Right? I'm not good at jersey numbers, but Mikal Bridges, number 25. Number 25 in your programs, number 1 in your hearts. So perfect amount. That's pretty fun. 25-point win on a night when number 25. And oh my goodness, how many points did Mikal Bridges score today? You better believe it. 25. Go out and I don't know. Well, you got to play more than one number for Lotto. But if you could go, I don't know, play 25 and something to go try and win money, you should go do that. Okay. There we go. Let's get to the Super Chats. Oh! And we're starting off with a banger. My goodness. EB the Lizard King. Very unlikable and unsophisticated win. I deserve that. Love you, Macri. Well, clearly, thank you very much. The statement game of all statement games. This is the version of the Knicks I've always expected to see when the playoffs start. April can't come soon enough. Shout out to my chat BCC guys. Shout out to everybody over at chatnicks.com. I've been particularly busy the last few weeks, so I haven't been chiming in quite as much, but I always do check in, and it is the let's just say liveliest chat anywhere. So yeah, anybody wants to participate in a group chat with, I think we got almost like 600 people in there now. Yeah, just go to chatnicks.com and download that app. Great conversation in there. And the version of the Knicks you've always expected to see when the playoffs start. So, yes. If the only thing you could possibly want more of or more from them after a game like this is you would love to see, I still think, this is just me, I still think that there is a level that this starting five can get to that I don't know that we've seen quite yet, where everything is fully unlocked, where they really figure out a way to unlock Towns, where, you don't feel like you're overcoming Josh Hart's presence. You feel like you are weaponizing Josh Hart's presence, which they did do later in the game. I will say that. They definitely did it later in the game. That's the only thing left for me. That's the only thing left for me that I haven't seen yet that I guess I still want to see, which is the starting five to reach that level of again, you talk about being greedy, that level of unguardability. Now that said, they came out in the third quarter and the starting five extended the lead before the first sub was made. So they did their job in the third quarter for sure. They absolutely did their job. In terms of everything else, again, there's no question they have the talent, and it's more than the fact that they have the talent. They have all of the pieces that you need. The one thing that they don't have, which we've obviously talked about, and we will probably talk about again, they don't have the traditional second creator, which I do think against some defenses is going to continue to be an issue. And yet, if they are on their P's and Q's and cross their T's and dot their I's, to throw two more letters into the party, the lack of a secondary creator does not need to hamstring them even against the best defenses. I do think when you're talking about the best defenses and the defenses that really they want to switch, they embrace switching, and this, the Spurs are not that defense. Like you saw the Spurs trying out a zone today because they just couldn't figure out how to stop the Knicks attack. That's the only thing. They have all of the pieces. They have more than enough shooting. I mean, I said it after the last postgame. They're like third or fourth in the league. I think fourth in the league in 3-point percentage. So they have the shooting. They have enough shooters. They have enough defenders, a little small, but again, I think you could argue that their size at times can be a weapon because again, today you saw it against the Spurs. Their ability to get small and get slithery on screens, their screen navigation today and their closeouts today, exceptional. And that's why, you're obviously making a very good joke about the unlikable and unsophisticated win. The reason why this game was so likable and the reason why this was a downright sophisticated win with a capital S is because that's what good teams do when they're facing other good teams. They do all the little things. And man, if the team goes out there and play like this, it's impossible not to like them, with how hard they played today and how much they executed and really keyed in on everything. So great win by them. And EB, thank you for incredibly generous super chat to start off our day. Really appreciate it, man. Another one from EB the Lizard King. What happens when Deuce returns? Great question. As good as he is, he can replicate what Mo gives us. He can't replicate what Mo gives us defensively. Does Jose get less minutes? Mike Brown is going to be in a tough spot trying to work him back in the rotation mid-playoffs. So I agree with what Fred Katz said when he came on the show last week, and he said he thought between Deuce and Jose, someone is probably not going to get the number of minutes that you would expect them to get. I agree with that sentiment. I don't think it means one of those guys is all of a sudden going to get, play 8 minutes or 10 minutes. I think they are both going to be, I think one of those guys is going to stay, up in the high teens, if not close to 20. And I think another one of those guys might be around 14, 15, 12, 13, 14, 15, something like that. I don't have a prediction about who's going to be in which spot. I think Deuce trying to come back off of an injury for this long, you would think just logically, even though he is a better player than Jose Alvarado because of the rust factor and because he's coming off of that sort of injury, You would think he would be the guy to get the less minutes, and yet that said, and again, I will sing Mo Diawara's praises from here to Kingdom Come. I don't think Muhammad Diawara is going to be a, significant part of the playoff rotation. I think you're going to see him get a couple of minutes here and there. I know what you're saying about Deuce can't replicate what Mo gives us defensively. It is tempting to say that when you look at the splash plays, when you see the length, and when you see his ability to move. He's also a rookie. And he does make rookie mistakes on both ends of the floor, but he makes rookie mistakes on defense. You see him every game. Again, like throwing zero shade at the kid because he's a freaking 20 rookie who wasn't supposed to make an impact for like years. And he's making a winning impact right now. I think Deuce McBride I feel very comfortable saying that Deuce McBride is a better defensive player than Mo Diawara right now. Again, it's not to say that there are not certain situations where you would rather have the longer guy in there. You absolutely will have those situations. But I think you're going to see him be a guy that is more of a, we need to throw him in there for 3-4 minutes here and we'll see how it goes guy in the playoffs, rather than 12-minute a night guy in the playoffs. And if that's the case, then there are enough minutes for everybody. You could give JB and OG their 35 a night. You could give Towns and Hart and Bridges their 30 a night. And you could give the other four, Deuce, Jose, Mitch, and Shamet, their 20 a night. Now, is it going to work out exactly that way? No, it's not going to work exactly out that way, because you're going to, Brunson, there are games where he's going to be playing more than 35. I guarantee you there's going to be games where OG's playing more than 35. Same thing for Mikal. Same thing for Cat. Same thing. Like, all these guys will have games where they play more, and you're going to have, games where, all of the bench guys get a little bit less. You might have games where one of those starters doesn't have it. Maybe it's Josh Hart. Maybe it's Bridges. And you're going to have them be in like the high 20s or mid to high 20s instead. So, but in terms of just like averages, minute averages, I think that 35-35, 30-30-30, 20-20-20-20 is, I think that's feasible. It's something in that range. So we'll see what happens. Thanks, EB. Really appreciate the generosity, man. That means a lot. Another one from EB. He's really getting the postgame started off right. Lastly, huge thanks to you and the KFS crew for the amazing content and community you've created. It makes being a fan more fun. When we win it all, I love that. There will be no better place to celebrate than right here on this channel. Well, I thank you. Thank you for that. I am proud to say that everybody that contributes anything on this channel, whether it's in front of the camera, in front of the microphone, or behind the camera, behind the microphone, every single person we have on this faculty is a better person than they are a content creator or producer. And that's saying something, because we have some amazing fucking content creators and producers on this, working here and doing this. And, and everybody does it out of love. And everybody does it because this community means what it does to them. Just really thankful we all have the platform that we do. Nobody's more thankful than me. The fact that I get to sit here and therapize with, what do we got? 1,900 people watching, 1,900 of my closest friends after a win like, well, this isn't therapizing, celebrating after a win like this and therapize after a big loss. I've said it a lot of times. I not to get too sappy, but like my daughter had kind of was having a rough morning because she had a sleepover at a friend's house back by where we used to live in Brooklyn, and trying to talk to her about just, life and what have you. And, she was down because different group of friends, the whole thing. And I'm like, you got to make it a point to find joy in life, because no one's going to find it for you. You have to make the affirmative decision to seek joy as opposed to seek reasons not to be joyful. And other than my wife and my 2 daughters, there is nothing in my life that gives me more joy than being able to do this in this community. So, EB, thank you for the compliment and the kind words, and we'll keep doing what we do. And I agree with you. It's going to be fun when they do finally win it, hopefully in about 3 months or 3.5 months. Andrew Badow, Bridges being burnt. I love it. Yeah. Player of the game. Hands down. Player of the game. Ron Tequila. What's going on, Ron? How you doing, man? Love when this team locks in. 3 everywhere on defense. I think by 3, you mean Josh Hart. And yeah, Josh Hart was awesome defensively, which is always a great thing to see when a guy is having a rough offensive game, that he doesn't give it back on the other end of the court. And Hart locked in. Everybody locked in. OG locked in. Mikal locked in. Those guys, I think, led the way. But, you don't get a defensive performance tonight without some really outstanding efforts across the board. Hart was one of those. And then credit to everybody, though. That includes Jalen Brunson and Karl-Anthony Towns. Most prominently, Karl-Anthony Towns. Thanks, Ron. Another one from Andrew Badow. 7'4", 260, out of place as today. We claim our Independence Day, you alien. I love it. Out 260 out in place as today. We claim our Independence Day, you alien. That was good. I love that speech. When was I? I was 13 when that movie came out. Yeah. I mean, Wemby, is he taller than those aliens were? I feel like those aliens were pretty tall. I think they were probably taller than 7'4", but I think he could probably give them a run for their money. Look, I don't want to disparage Wemby too much. Here's why. To beat that dude, it takes a full team effort and a couple of really special performances. And they did that. And Wemby, I think, should absolutely be in the top 5 at MVP voting. The games played stuff is going to make this interesting. So I don't even if he even gets to the 65. If he gets to the 65, he should be top 5. He's really good. But the Knicks were better today. Thanks, Andrew. Kanye and Pepper, what's going on, man? A lot of y'all owe Mikal an apology. Thanks. I'm going to shout out, if I haven't already in the past for this, I'm going to shout out my guy, Jonas Plout, who has been writing some bang-up stuff for the Knicks Film School newsletter, and also has his own newsletter on Substack, which I'm going to double check, make sure I got the name right. Yes, the Cap Crunch. Actually just sent out a new one in the last few days, which everybody should go read and subscribe to the Cap Crunch on Substack because it's free and it's the best cap writing that is out there right now when it comes to the NBA. Me and him have been texting a lot about Mikal because he shares your sentiment, Kanyan, that people like I've been a little too hard on him. It's honestly a version of the Cat conversation, I think, where it's just about consistency. Now, Cat's season this year has been a little bit differently. It's about a little bit more than consistency from Cat. But with Mikal, again, if you want to be called the best role player in the league, and I think Mikal has every right to want to be in that discussion, if not outgrow that discussion, consistency is a part of that. Now, he does give you the most consistent thing you could ask for from any player, and that is showing up and playing every night. Even with that, I think you want a little bit more consistency from him. And yet, again, there's my favorite 2 words. And yet, the little stuff is always there. And it's not that you need the big score. You don't need the big scoring game like this all the time. Like these once in a while, it's more just like filling in the cracks in terms of the physicality. It's the stuff we always talk about. The people who are going to forget about this game and rail on Mikal Bridges the next time he has a subpar game are not going to do so because he has an off shooting night. They're going to do so because they feel like he's not physical enough, because he doesn't go to the rim enough, and because he's getting beat the pants off of in one-on-one defense. You can't say any of those things tonight. He did everything tonight. He was plenty physical. He went to the rim on at least one occasion that I remember, a couple of occasions actually. And his defense was phenomenal. Good, impeccable game. Thanks, Kanye. Sergio Escobar, what's going on, Sergio? The Knicks rule. Cap was fire. OG was a dog. Yes, he was. Cat resurrected. Jose SL Arma Secreta. So I think I know what Secreta means. Let's see translation. SL Arma Secreta. I have to type translation. Translation. Weapon? Oh, is our secret weapon. Arma. Oh, arms. Yeah, that makes sense. Kev, did you know that, or did you put two and two together?
Okay. Yeah, I typed it in the chat.
Hold on. What'd you say?
I typed it in the chat.
No, I saw it. Did you reason that out?
Yeah. No, I know a little bit of Spanish.
Okay.
Yeah.
Arma Secreta. That's good. I like that. I don't know if it's worthy of a nickname. Great. GTA 5 is pretty good. But yeah. Thanks, Kev. The finals against the Spurs are going to be so much fun. Man. I hope. I would love that. We would all love that, wouldn't we? Thanks, sir. I mean, look, it's not crazy. It's not crazy. They seem to have OKC's number. Although I would pick OKC in a series against them still. Thanks, Sergio. Z Raheem, if we got this more consistently from Mikal Bridges, now this is kind of what I was alluding to before, he wouldn't get piled on as much. Side note, seems like you're not allowed to have any negative comments on him in the Substack chat. You know what the funny thing is so we got chatnicks.com, the chat PCC group. We have the Substack. Obviously there's Knicks Twitter. All of these different little communities, have their own personalities where they favor some guys more than others and are a little harsher on some guys over others. I think there is a robust defense of Mikal Bridges in some places purely because people see him as getting unfairly crapped on. And when I say unfairly, I mean crapped on for the same amount of, like, if you imagine we had a giant whiteboard, and on that whiteboard we put up every player's name, and under each player's name we listed all of their strengths and all of their weaknesses, along with the percentage of time that they gave us those strengths, the percentage of time that they gave us those weaknesses, and then assigned a point value to all of those strengths and weaknesses based on how advantageous or detrimental those specific things were to the game of basketball. Imagine you actually had the capabilities to do this. Now, we don't, because we're like, nobody could do that. But imagine we did. I would wager that the final number at the bottom of the scale, at the bottom of the tally for Mikal Bridges would spit out a number, let's call it a helpfulness number, that was at least as high as or higher than other players on the roster, like perhaps an OG Anunoby, like perhaps a Josh Hart, that are criticized less than Mikal Bridges is. Now, there are stat heads out there, advanced stat heads, who will tell you, hey, dipshit, we have such an ability to have those numbers. It's called advanced stats. They're out there everywhere you look. I will never believe that advanced stats can capture everything. I think they capture a lot of things. I think they're incredibly helpful. I don't think that they could ever give us a true and complete picture of a player and their impact. And yet, again, there's those words again. And yet, if you look at the advanced stats on Mikal Bridges, you will find a lot of stats that, lo and behold, hold him in incredibly high regard. for those reasons, I think the people who are defensive of him are very defensive of him. And honestly, for those same reasons, I think the people that are critical of him are very critical of him, because their accusation is like, you guys are relying on these fancy numbers. I'm watching the game. I know what I'm watching. I'm saying this when Mikal Bridges has a game that leaves you wanting more. And that's why, other than Karl-Anthony Towns, like if Karl-Anthony Towns wasn't on this team, we'd be saying Mikal Bridges is one of the most divisive Knicks in the history of the franchise. But Cat's here. And Cat's more divisive than Bridges, but Bridges is very, very divisive. So anyway, that's my best shot at attempting to explain why this is the way it is. Next up, thanks, Z, by the way. Haitian, my guy, Haitian Ferg. Great town hall the other night. Always love seeing you. And hope you could stay around for longer next time. Don't call me crazy or delusional when you play like this. It's clear that there is a switch they can flip. Anything other than this effort is unacceptable. Very proud of what I saw today overall. Look. In the playoffs, anything other than this is unacceptable. You know, give or take we're up 2-0 in the first round, and you know, not that I'm predicting that this will happen, but like you're up 2-0 in the first round, and game 3 you get kind of drilled. Other than something like that, only this effort should be what we expect and what we want in the playoffs. Am I going to sit here and say, after everything that I've said in this post game so far, that if they go out against, let me look at their freaking schedule here, like trying to think when's the next time this could reason. Like honestly, like let's say they go and drop a deuce on the floor in Toronto and the Raptors just run them out of the gym. Am I going to lose my mind? I don't think I am, because of what I said before. That's who this team is. They're going to have ups and downs. The playoffs, you got to be ready to go in the playoffs. And again, that's part of what left me with a sour taste in my mouth. And Haitian, I know you share this sentiment. Last season is for as much as they were, a 3.5 minute brain fart, arguably away from the NBA Finals. I did not feel like they brought this consistently in the playoffs, which then informs my reaction when I see them not bring it in the regular season. I think that's the biggest point of contention between the two camps of the fan base, where one camp will say, none of this stuff matters. They just made it to the Eastern Conference Finals. They showed you that when the push comes to shove, they have the button that they could press. And my response, and I think it's similar to your response, Haitian, is like, not really, because they didn't always press that button in the playoffs. Like, not to say they got lucky, but they didn't get lucky. But that was tenuous, more tenuous than it probably should have been. So, anyway, playoffs come. You got to go out there and you got to give it something similar to this. I think we could agree on that. Thank you, Haitian. Really appreciate you, man. JDM, Mikal's best game is a Knick two-way masterclass. So I'm going to give you, by the way, Spurs this season, their worst loss, what they lose by 25 tonight? Their worst loss before this, I'm seeing 12, 13, 13, 13, 12. They lost by 21 at OKC. So this is the worst Spurs loss of the year for them. Okay. Mikal Bridges' best games as a Knick. Christmas Day last year is the first one that comes to mind. I think off the top of my head, I think Christmas Day last year was his best game as a Knick. I would also submit to you the game in Portland where he hit the game-winning shot and finished 13 of 21 from the field, 33 points. I would submit to you that was a pretty spectacular game as well. And then this season, his game. I forgot his game against Boston that we forget about because they lost the game. Bridges was spectacular in the game they lost at Boston, where Jaylen Brown went crazy on them. He had 35 points on 17 shots. He was incredible. What else? Didn't he have another big? Oh, in the Cup final, I think he had a really good game. Really good in a game against the Landry Shamet game. He was really good in that game. So I will go top. I'll go top 5 for sure. Maybe top 3. Thanks, JDM. Mr. Fabro, what's going on, man? Great win. Somewhat frustrating offensively, but almost flawless defensively. They have not played a better defensive game all season. I don't care in terms of they've given up fewer points. Best defensive game of the season. Frustrating offensively, and yet that's almost the more encouraging part to me, because they came out of the gate and it was dreadful to watch the first 6 minutes of the game, and they figured it out. So, yeah, great stuff. Thanks, Mr. Fabro. Robert Cross. I feel like it's been a while since I've heard from Robert in this chat, and it's good to hear from him. And thank you for joining us, Robert. First time, long time at your boy, John. Hart's effort and compete is why he's in the starting lineup. His reluctance to shoot is why he cannot stay in the starting lineup. He could stay in the starting lineup. Now, do the possessions where they leave him wide open and he doesn't take the jumper, is that frustrating? Yes, because sometimes they're playing so far off of him that even if he immediately puts the ball on the floor and drives, you're still not creating any kind of an advantage on that. The one thing that I will say is when teams play off of him as blatantly as the Spurs did at times tonight, there's only one guy in the league that has the ability to block mid-rangers, the likes of which Wemby was blocking tonight, and it's that dude. Teams that play off him so much, if Hart dribbles, even if he's wide open and he dribbles into a 10-12 footer, that's a weapon for Hart, against every other team. So look, it's about a lot more than that. It's about a lot more than what he does when he's wide open. The thing that I always go back to, and credit Benji for this, is and we talked about this a lot more last year with the center on Hart and how much it was marginalizing Towns. And my point was the solution is to get Hart involved in actions, which, by the way, they did out of the gate tonight. And Benji's comeback is you don't go out and get a Ferrari, referring to Karl-Anthony Towns, to go drive every day in your Honda Civic. And that's maybe a little bit disparaging of Hart, but I also don't disagree with the sentiment. So it's tough. And it's something that they're going to have to continue to deal with, and they're going to continue to deal with for as long as he's on this team. If there was ever to be a change in the starting 5, I would be okay with it. But I'm also okay with it if it's the way that it is. Thanks, Robert. Haitian with another one. Credit to Josh Hart flying around. Yes. JB easing into the game. Yes. Mikal hitting open looks. Yes. Cat finding his game within the offense. Yes. And OG being OG again. Mo gives Wingstop a third look. Yeah, I do want to point out one thing, Haitian, and this is not to counter anything that you're saying. It's actually more in response to Robert's point. The Spurs didn't change their defense when Mo Diawara was in the game. When Diawara was in the game, they were employing the exact same defense, which was, we're going to ignore that guy, and we're going to make him beat us. Now, the difference between Mo Diawara and Josh Hart is that Josh Hart took 6 threes in how many minutes did he play? Josh Hart took 6 threes in 30 minutes, Mo Diawara took 13. It's like funny. Has there been, other than like Con Knipple, has there been a rookie that has taken 13 threes in a game this year, let alone 13 threes in 15 minutes? So now, but look, Diawara 4 of 13 from deep. Hart 1 of 6. Who was more helpful to the offense tonight? I think it's an interesting discussion. But that's the difference, is one guy isn't really going to hesitate, and the other guy is sometimes. And it did not take Hart long to lose his confidence tonight. So, yeah. Thanks, Haitian. Danishevsky with a new one. Hey, Kevin, how are you? I can't believe I'm saying this because I love Quickly, but, oh my. I have not been more excited about a Leon Rose draft pick than Mo Diawara. He's got everything. May go ahead and save the season, Kevin, my Lord. Jesus Christ. Save the season. He is a helpful player. I love what he has going on. I'm so excited about what he is going to bring in the future, how he can help this team have a cost-controlled, I know he has no contract behind this year. I still think he's going to be a cost-controlled asset. Have a cost-controlled asset who can give you potentially 25, 30 minutes a night of really strong wing play. Save the season is one step too far for me personally, and I would love to be wrong. I'm very excited about what Mo brings to the table right now. I like it when he checks into the game. He absolutely contributed to the win today in a massive way. My excitement is still far more about where this guy is going to be in 2 or 3 years. But he's going to play a role on this team this year. Like in the playoffs, he's going to play a role. He will have an opportunity to impact winning in the playoffs this season, and that is incredibly exciting. Thanks, Kev. Anthony Sixto, game of the year from Mikal, another game of the year vote for Mikal Bridges. I mean, considering the only game where he was like markedly better from an offensive standpoint was a game they lost against Boston. And then the only other game he scored more points was a 30-point effort against Toronto, where he didn't miss he was 12 of 15 from the field. You know, they won that game by 27 points. Now they won this game by 25, but little different feel. Cat played a 5-star game. Okay. I mean, look, he was great. He was great. Favorite game, both ends. Great defensive rotations, no overhelping, great recovery, worked through the offensive ruts and adapted quickly. What more can you ask for? Nothing. I can't ask. I mean, I told you the one thing I can ask for a little bit more is for that offensive, for that starting 5 on offense to reach one more level that I think they have. But you know, again, we're spoiled if we're asking for more today. I love that you highlighted the rotations and the no overhelping and the great recovery, all of the things that make the difference. And the one last thing, the closeouts. A team like San Antonio that has been shooting like San Antonio has been shooting for a month does not shoot 26% from 3 without really strong closeouts. It does not happen. Thanks, Anthony. I'm actually looking it up right now. In February, the Spurs were shot from 3. I have no idea what this is. 37.4% from 3 in February. So more than 10 percentage points below that today. Robert Cross with another one. First time, long time, it's your boy John. Mo D needs to play as many minutes as possible between now and when the games count. Then he needs to remain in the rotation. So the first sentence you said is not unreasonable. I think there is absolutely an argument for Mo Diawara to play 15, 20 minutes a night from here until the end of the season, and that minutes from him are immensely more valuable than minutes for Jeremy Sohan, which it seems like Mike Brown may have figured out. I don't want to say figured out. Figured out implies that Mike Brown is somehow like stupid. Mike Brown gave Sohan 4 games. And honestly, I'm surprised it wasn't longer for as bad as it looked. He had 4 games. And it didn't cost them any games because they weren't winning Detroit, because of that, and they didn't lose Cleveland because of that. So, moving forward, 15, 20 minutes for Diawara any night, absolutely, sign me up. In terms of needing to remain in the rotation, again, we're not sitting here talking about Jordan Clarkson or whoever. We're talking about guys like Landry Shamet and Deuce McBride and Jose Alvarado. And I understand I just named 3 very small basketball players. That's what makes it a little tricky. But they are 3 small basketball players who play a lot bigger than their listed height. So I don't envy Mike Brown. Let's just say that. Knicks, by the way. Woo! I need to go change. I need to go take a shower. 8th in defensive rating. 8th. And a smidgen behind the Spurs for the 4th best net rating in the league. 8th in defensive rating. 0.1 behind Boston. 0.2 behind Toronto. 0.5 behind Houston. 0.7 behind the Heat, who are in 4th. There's a non-zero chance the Knicks could have a top 5 defense at some point before the end of the year. That is insane. Thank you, Robert. Robert with another one. First time, long time. It's your boy John. Coach Brown has a lot of chess pieces. What does the rotation look like with a healthy Deuce? 53-year title drought, no pressure. I laid it out for you. I think, again, 35-35, 30-30-30, 20-20-20-20. Give or take a minute or two here, a minute or two there. So if Alvarado's 18 and Deuce is 17 and Bridges is 32 and Cat's 31, and you get your 3-4 minutes for Diawara by borrowing from Peter to pay Paul. But generally speaking, I think that's what it is. I think it's a 9-man rotation, and I think it's roughly the minutes that I laid out for you. Thanks, Robert. Matt, Nick, Scotland, my guy from Scotland. This fucking bipolar team. Yeah, man. They're one of one. Nobody else like them in the league. Maybe Minnesota. Maybe Minnesota. That's really it. Minnesota is not quite as maddening, but they're close. Thanks, Matt. Another one from Matt. Shows how important Mikal is. If he plays like that, we're genuine contenders. Yeah, I mean, for me, if he plays like that, we're contenders power rankings. OG is number 1. OG is number 1. I think Cat is number 2. I might have Mitchell Robinson number 3, only because I have seen that gentleman win playoff series before, playoff series plural. But Mikal would be in conversation for number 3 for me. Thanks, Matt. Manny Campos, I love this already. This team is soft. Cat is cooked. Mikal wasn't worth 5 picks. Hart can't shoot. Too much JB hero ball. Fire Mike Brown. Oh, wait. Wrong post game. Let's fucking go Knicks. Listen, but this is who they are. This is the team. This is the team. Everything you're saying has been uttered by me, along with many other people, after many a game this season. And it's not the one thing I'm not going to do. I mean, I'll disparage myself all day long and twice on Sunday. I'm not going to disparage any fan who has said any of those things. because again, like we've seen, just like the more positive fans after those bad games are like, we've seen too much to be this way. We've seen too much to write off this team. We've seen too much to disparage them to this degree. The flip side can say, no, we've seen too much to just blow smoke up their asses. This is who they are. They're everything. They're everything. You know, it's like the only comparison that I can give it to is like, you know, pick your Hollywood director. You know, Steven Spielberg had 1941. You know, Francis Ford Coppola had a few stinkers. Like your very best had movies that didn't hit the spot. It's the same thing with this basketball team, you know, and it's all part of the equation. Thanks, Manny. Danishevsky with another one. Also, Mikal. He shows up when you need him big time. Can I politely request one thing from Mikal Bridges? One thing, not to be the guy that pees in the punch bowl, but my only request from Mikal Bridges is this upcoming postseason. Can he please, if he does not mind, can he please shoot higher than, I'm pulling up the numbers, give me a sec. Can he please shoot? No, playoffs. Why is it giving me regular season? It's coming. Don't worry. Give me a sec. Shoot better in the playoffs. That's all I want. Can he shoot better in the playoffs? Is it too much to ask him to shoot better in the playoffs? That's it. Because I thought his shooting in the postseason last year, and of course the NBA stat site doesn't want to work right now. I'll get it at some point. But Kev, I know you know the numbers. Like, he did not shoot it well in the playoffs last year. That's the only thing I need. Thanks, Kev. Why is this not working? This is so annoying. The NBA stats site does this periodically, and I really don't know why. Anyway, Robert Cross, first time, long time. It's your boy John. Give me 5 minutes of you praising Cat for his effort today and how it is integral to the championship. I gave it to you already. I think I spent at least 5 minutes on Cat to start out. Yeah, I just I thought he was incredible today. I thought he was instrumental to the win, and I think it is not too much to demand that Karl-Anthony Towns gives them this level of effort and engagement in every game. But here's the thing: by and large, he has given them this year. By and large, he has given them this year. So there you go. Here we go. Bridges less from the field in the postseason. He shot 33% from three. That's really the big gripe. He shot 33% from three, 45.6% from the field after shooting 50% from the field in the regular season and 35.4% from three. So I just need the shooting to be a little bit better. That's it. Then I'm happy. Thanks, Robert. Rob Delusma. Afternoon, JM. Great Knicks win and really nice to see them play well as a capital T, capital E, capital A, capital M team. Let's go Knicks. Completely agree. Great team win. Mikal's getting a lot of love. Mo Diaware's getting a lot of love. Cat's getting some love. Hart's getting some love. I could use JB to get a little bit more love. I could use OG to get a little bit more love. But one player did not win this game. You know, everybody did. Thanks, Rob. Shrewd, clever brick. Best the defense has looked yet. Yes. Despite his stat line, the ball denial on Wemby and keeping him off his spots was the most impressive. Mo Diawara keeps shining too. 100%. As far as keeping Wemby off of his spots, there was the one alley-oop to Wemby. I think it was it to start the third quarter? Hold on. No, that was a jump shot. There was one alley-oop where Towns didn't lift up his hands and kind of put his ass back. He bent his ass into it to try to I don't know, I guess bump Wemby from jumping, and that wasn't going to work. That was the only bucket Wemby had all game that I thought was an easy basket. And everything else was challenging. So they did a great job. Thanks, Shrewd. Mark Frangos. What's going on, Mark? How you doing, man? Welcome to the postgame. The Knicks were playing for each other. Yes. I know Hart was off, but in past years, he would give up and get in his own head. He made big plays and hit a dagger. Great call on the dagger. I forgot about that three. It was a great shot. I ride or die with Josh and this unlikable team. As you should. As you should. As should we all. I like Brunson the most. Brunson is the guy that, the thought of him playing in a different uniform is, painful for me to think about. Brunson is the guy that when I believe the Knicks, when I think to myself, do the Knicks have a chance to win the title for real? Brunson's the biggest reason why I think the answer, if I think the answer is yes, Brunson's the biggest reason why. Hart is my second favorite Knick. Probably by a significant degree. I texted our group chat I think towards the end of the first quarter, and I was just I feel awful for Hart. Most players, I would just be mad at them. Most guys on this team, I would be mad at them. Hart, I watched that happen to him, and I'm I feel bad for him because I love the guy. Again, though, it's about what you said, playing for each other. If they're gonna become a team that we really do fall in love with, they got to play for each other consistently. And they did that today. And I love to see it. Thanks, Mark. Appreciate you, man. Zach, what's going on, man? Great to hear from you, buddy. Efficiency has been huge. Add in diving on the floor for loose ball, and he's a bad kitty. We know who you're talking about. So much character and depth now. This team can win a title. Everyone doing the little things. Need I say Mo? See what you did there. They can win a title. If you beat the Spurs, if you go out and you play the Spurs like you played the Spurs this year, you can win the title. If you've played Denver like you've played Denver this year, you could win the title. Because I think if it's not OKC, it's going to be one of those two teams. And I know we haven't seen them play OKC yet this year, but I'm excited for those matchups. I am. I'm genuinely excited for those matchups. First of which we get this week. I don't think the Thunder have shown themselves to be unbeatable. I think they'll be the toughest matchup of those three teams for the Knicks. I don't think they're unbeatable. And then it's about getting out of the East. And, we know who's going to be there. And we know what those challenges are like. And it's going to be a battle. It's going to be a war. Can they do it? Yeah, they can. We'll see if they will. Chris Carter, what's going on, brother? Honestly, I can't wait until they blow up this team. Hashtag bring back Tibbs. Oh, man. You would have thought that Tibbs was coaching the way Brown left his starters in late. Yeah. No, we could hold off on the dynamite for one more game. Only one more. Maybe that's what we should get to sponsor the show. Maybe we should have gotten a safe for home use dynamite company to sponsor the postgame. If there's anybody out there, you know where to find me. Thanks, Chris. Hush Zoo, what a great win. Walt Perrin, take a damn bow. People doubted you recently, including myself. What a damn hit Diawara is. Mikal was awesome. I think if you look at all of Walt Perrin's picks, don't forget, there were a couple of years where the Knicks just punted on the draft. I'm not going to get on Walt Perrin for fucking Jericho Sims, or even honestly Tyler Kolek, who I think they got him for a specific purpose, and I don't want to talk about Tyler Kolek. I mean, look, Kolek may still be a player, but I even saw the logic in that pick. The Dottier thing, I think, was about money. I will always think that was about money. And then, like, what other misses did he have? Like Obi. I think Obi was a Leon West pick. Drafted Grimes, drafted quickly, drafted Deuce. Now he's drafted Mo. It's a lot of good picks in there. Thanks, Hush. Okay, you want to do stat of the game? Here we go. Jonah Kaufman, KFS intern extraordinaire. Nito's stat of the night, 14. As in 14 field goal attempts for Mohamed Diawara. Of course, 13 of them came from deep. Career high in field goal attempts. It led to 14 points, which tied for his second most in a game as a Knick. So season high, tying 4 made threes. One shy of the season high in 3-point attempts for any Knick player. How about that? 13 attempted threes in 15 minutes is tied for the highest rate of threes by any player in the league this season with at least 5 minutes played. That is a stat. Damn. Tied with himself in the New Year's Eve game, also against the Spurs. That's a great stat, Jonah. Wow, that was really good. Tied for the highest rate of 3-point attempts by any player in the league this season in a game with at least 5 minutes played. And he's tied with himself. God. This guy likes to shoot. Does he not? Thanks, Jonah. All right. Kev, you want to put me in the mood real quick? I got to think about what is going to put me in the mood. Yes. So if you didn't know already, now you do, that there's an online cannabis company that discreetly ships federally legal THC right to your door. Best of all, this company has found a way to combine THC with carefully selected functional ingredients. That's the key. It is the functional high that you want. It is Mood. You find them at mood.com. Use that code KFS for 20% off your first order. Again, mood.com, order code KFS, get 20% off. What put me in the mood tonight? I'm going to go with the Mikal. Got to be one of the Mikal pick sixes, right? Let me see here. I wrote all these notes and I haven't really been. I'm going to go. We didn't even mention the small ball. Shout out to Mike Brown playing small ball. Small ball didn't put me in the mood. I liked it, but small ball didn't put me in the mood. You know what it was? This put me in the mood tonight. Mike Malone on the broadcast talking about they were talking about the Jeremy Sohan Mo Diawara thing and how Mike Brown was trying to get minutes for Sohan and but at the expense of Diawara and this and that. And then Malone goes, "I got bad news for Jeremy Sohan." That was fantastic. That put me in the mood. Yeah. Shout out to mood.com. Again, use code KFS, 20% off functional gummies that you've been waiting for. Okay. Oh, we got a Mikal Bridges defensive player of the game pick coming up here too. For anybody watching on the old YouTube. Hey, if you're listening on the pod, shout out to you. Leave us a nice 5-star rating. Leave us a review. But you're missing great stuff like right here, this picture of Mikal Bridges. So it's always interesting when we get a picture of Bridges as the defensive player of the game because he is not there to stand next to the defensive player of the game with his classic peace sign. Taking his place, none other than Jose Alvarado looking like Spider-Man. Very nice look for Jose. Cat slinging the web shooter. It's a good look. Deuce is lurking in the background. Is that OG lurking next to Deuce? I think it is. Yeah. OG always lurks. Deuce often lurks. And then there's Brunson. I don't see Brunson, though. I don't know where Brunson is. Yeah. Great pick. Good stuff. Congratulations, Mikal. Okay. My wife told me dinner was at 6, so we got to start to move through these here. Austin Z, defense was up in their shit. Pesky, physical, dominant. Started to look like some of those super tough physical defenses that gave us trouble. Yes. Yes. Thank you, Austin. Absolutely. Yes. We got to look more like that. Because, and here's the thing. They have the personnel, right? They have the personnel to move guys off their spots, to be physical. Now they just got to do it. Thanks, Austin. Stevens Guillaume, another team held under 100 points. Are we a top 10 defense now? I just told you they're eighth. Wingstop showed up. Yes. This season for the Knicks. Let's see what we got here. Knicks. This is their, how many times do you think? I'm going to guess this is the 7th time they've held an opponent under 100 points. Holy shit, I'm way off. This is the 12th time they've held an opponent under 100 points. It is the 5th time that they've held an opponent under 90 points. That is awesome. Those 5 opponents, the Nets, the Kings, the Sixers, the Celtics, and the Spurs. How about that? Boston, number 1 offense in the league, or number 2 offense in the league, they held them under 100 points. And then the Spurs, who are, I don't know what they rank offensively. It's very good. 8th. So they have held the 2nd and 8th ranked offenses in the league under 90 points. That's impressive. And then they held Boston to 95 another time. Pretty good. Thanks, Stevens. Paul McFarline, what's going on, Paul? This might sound weird, but this game wasn't as close as the score makes it look. Missed free throws, open threes, giving up offensive boards, still won by 25. It's funny. I thought you were going to go the other way. I thought you were going to be like, the final margin was 25, but this game had the feel of a game that was much closer, and you were bringing it up to give them a compliment that, like, this wasn't a cakewalk. Like, they really needed to earn this one. I guess both things could be true. For me, I will look at this final score. I'll be like, oh yeah, that was the game that, like, it was a close game, and then they kind of took control in the fourth quarter. Like, here's the thing: it was an 11-point game in the third quarter. So, and no Brunson to start the fourth. So I know for me, I was very nervous to start the fourth, but I'm always nervous. So thanks, Paul. Joseph Zicola, what's going on, Joseph? How are you, my friend? The Mikal game, the Give Us More Mo game, the soon to be 10-man playoff rotation from hell game. Love, so much to love, but more than anything, that defense, we are legit. Now keep it rolling. Let's fucking go Knicks. Lot of people predicting 10-man rotation, or want a 10-man rotation for the playoffs. Again, I think it's going to be a 9.5. If Deuce is healthy, I think it's going to be 9.5. But we'll see. Thanks, Joseph. Manuel, what's going on, Manuel? Let's go. When this team wants to, they could be so good. 35% from 3 is now the Claudio winning prediction standard. I need a Mikal apology form, Mo. Yeah, I mean, just in case you're not keeping up to tabs on, like, the 3-point. And this is why, for me, this was such an impressive win. So 35 is, like, close to the Mendoza line. The real Mendoza line is 34%, because under 34% from 3, they have done under 34% from 3 16 times, and they've won 3 of those games. So 3-13 when they shoot under 34% from 3. And then, of course, when they shoot over 45% from 3, they're undefeated. So, yeah. Thanks, Manuel. Dom Cappuccini. I know Dom is excited today. Rebounding is their main identity. You know what? That's not a bad comment. Where were they tonight on the boards? I mean, I know they out-rebounded San Antonio, but where specifically were they on the boards? My guess is they out-rebounded them by like 8, 10. Shit, 13. Fuck. 18 offensive rebounds. Whew. That's reminiscent of the Cup final. Lean into it, and this conference can be their oyster. P.S. Give a shit like this on defense consistently, and it will be their oyster. Let's go Knicks. Listen, if they play defensively like this, maybe famous last words, but they'll figure out the offensive stuff. If they defend like this, the offense will come. As Dante DiVincenzo hits a 3. Shout out to Dante. Nice game so far for the Wolves. Thanks, Tom. Appreciate you, man. Nick Calieros, I think. You couldn't convince me during the losing streak earlier in the season that the Knicks would be top 5 in opponents' points per game after 61 games. Well, here we are. You know, they've been, here's the thing. They've been number 1 in defense for a little while now. I mean, if you just want to go back to MLK Day, well, since MLK Day, which is a span of what now? Almost 6 weeks. For best defense in the league, 103.1. The next best defense, 107.2. So they're a full 4.1 points per 100 possessions clear of the next best defense in the league over what has been an 18-game stretch. 18 games, almost a quarter of the season. Thanks, Nick. Pundertaker, what's going on, Pundertaker? This is Pundertaker. Yes. Oh, Pundertaker, if you're listening to this, email me at knicksfilmschool@gmail.com. You were the super chat of the night or the chat of the night winner on Friday. I need an email address from you, buddy. Thanks, Pundertaker. The Knicks, this is from David Crockett, my guy David. How you doing, man? The Knicks are a high variance team, you think? In G minor, opus 239. Any outcome is possible on any night. And it's this game and the Indy game. New York is both teams. I'm trying to think what would be my bottom 5 for them this year. Because we could come up with a top 5 easily. The Cup final, the Cavs Christmas game. If you want to go the Houston game, which is both teams in one night, but like their fourth quarter against the Houston game, the Denver game, just for full like end-to-end performances, it's Denver, it's Cleveland, it's both Spurs wins, and it's trying to think what else I would go. Where else I would go? Oh, the Boston game on. I know Boston didn't shoot it, but Boston on Super Bowl Sunday. So those would be your top 5. For your bottom 5, you're going first Pistons game. You're going second Pistons game. I think you're going Kings game. You're going MLK Day. I don't know that the recent Cavs game deserves to be in that group. The Pacers game might need to be over the Cavs game, but Pacers need to be in the top 5 too. Yeah. The Cavs game is just an ugly offensive game. They were just bad offensively. Thanks, David. And 100% agree with your comment, by the way. Neo Marioism. I'm going to say it. Mo has earned playoff minutes. Additive player in every sense of the word. Yes, he's additive. Yes, he does a lot of things. He's also a rookie, and he is also going to do rookie stuff, which it's not just Mike Brown. Any coach is going to be scared to put young players on the floor. Eric Spoelstra, it's not even the playoffs yet, and you've seen what he's done with Khalil Ware's minutes, over the course of the year. So this is every coach. Every coach is going to be a little trepidatious about giving rookies playoff minutes. That said, clearly, Mike Brown is very, very high on Mo Diawara, as he should be. He absolutely recognizes what Diawara brings to the table, as he should. I want to caution anybody thinking that Mo Diawara is going to get, 12, 15 minutes in the playoffs if this team is fully healthy. I don't see it. I see him being more of that 9.5, the half man. Z Raheem with another one. From as low as 19th in defensive rating to possibly top 8 now. What a defensive turnaround. Mike Brown deserves some credit. Mike Brown deserves all the credit in the world. Mike Brown, the biggest thing for me with Mike Brown is not anything really we've seen on the court. It's purely mostly the cat relationship, but also to a larger extent, like, does he have a full-on grasp of this locker room in the way that he needs to have a full-on grasp of the locker room? That's been the only question with Mike Brown. And yet you look at how well they've played during certain stretches and you'd say, all right, he seems like he might. I'm going to do you one better. For the lowest in defense was 19th. From December 17th to January 20th, so a span of more than a month, the Knicks ranked 29th in defense. 29th, ahead of only the Utah Jazz. That was an 18. So what did I just tell you? There's an 18-game stretch now where they're first in defense. There was an 18-game stretch where they were 29th in defense. Thanks, Z. Jason, what's going on, Jason? As frustrating as this team has been this season, when they play their A game, they are a championship level first. They are championship level. First time you could say that in over 25 years. If the standard is when they play their A game, they are championship level. I think last year's team was championship level when they played their A game. I mean, I don't know how you want to factor in injuries into the 23-24 team. I think I'd at least like to have that conversation. And then I will give some love to a team that I don't ever give love to, and that is the 2012-2013 team. A game, when that team played their A game. Now, did anybody believe that they were going to play their A game enough to win 4 playoff rounds? No. When they won 6 playoff games. But I think they deserve to at least be mentioned. Thanks, Jason. Good comment. Sam Roth, what's going on, Sam? Not sure what Mike Brown put in the Gatorade. The team played at a different speed today. # no Mo, Mr. Nice Guy. I don't think he put anything in there, man. I think this is, as David Crockett said, and David always has incredible comments. And Jason also, for the last comment. This is just, they have it in them. It's in there. It's in there. It is all about consistency because, and here's the real truth of it, right? The real truth of it is that in any given year in the NBA, I think you could argue there are 6, 8, maybe 10 teams that you can, if you catch them during the right 2-week stretch, they're 8 to 10. Like, even just look at this season. Just look at this season. This season alone, at different times, the Pistons, Celtics, Knicks, I got to throw the Cavs in there. Cavs, Thunder, Spurs, Rockets, Nuggets, Wolves, and that's probably where I got to draw the line. All 9 of those teams have convinced you at times this season. Again, not one game, but like weeks at a time. If you watched any of those teams for the right stretch of several weeks at a time, you'd be like, yeah, this team could win the championship. And yet, how many true contenders are there in any given season? It's more like 2, 3, 4. What's the difference? Consistency. And I think that's where you have to ask yourself the tough questions with the Knicks. We know they're inconsistent. We know they're capable of some real stinkers. It is really just a matter of, can they weed out some of the truly abhorrent performances once the playoffs start. It's not about playing great every night when the playoffs start. That's not anyone's standard. Nobody plays great in the playoffs every game. It's impossible. It's about weeding out the low energy, low effort, lack of execution performances. That's the question. And I think that's really where the division is in the fan base, although today is certainly a positive sign. Thanks, Sam. Avery Whitehall. What's going on, Avery? The two most important things about the game today. One, the Knicks defense was outstanding. Completely agree. And two, they never let go of the rope. It's a great call. It's why I highlighted that Mikal Bridges 3 to start the third quarter, because that 3 was emblematic to me of so many big baskets that they had throughout the game where it looked like the Spurs were going to maybe think about making a push, and the Knicks never let him. Completely agree. Great comment by you. Totally 100%. Yes. Dom Gabachidi, Cool Mo 3D. Embrace it, please. Let's go Knicks. He's embracing it. Mike Brown is absolutely embracing it. Freeway Hustler, what's going on, Freeway? I hate that our wins matter so little, but our losses are so catastrophic. ESPN is rewriting their talking points as we speak. They were expecting a massacre. They got one. Let's fucking go Knicks. Look, if we're going to call a spade, I'm as responsible for that as anyone. It's not, look, in fairness, how many normal losses does this team have? And if you want to push back and say, yeah, but like, go watch any opposing team, any of those 9 teams that I just mentioned, right? Any of those 9 teams I just mentioned, but keep the Lakers out of it. Lakers are their own thing this year. Any of the 9 teams that I just mentioned, you go look at any of their losses. So those 9 teams, between the 9 of them, have between them what? 170 losses this year? I don't know. Whatever the number is. I bet if you scoped out your Joe content creator, post-game thing after any one of those 170 losses, like half of them, they're going to make out those losses to be, if not the end of the world, but like a very big deal. And that's just the nature of content creation, if I'm being honest. It's the nature of fandom. It's the nature of expectations. When you are a contending team and you do go out there kind of at least hoping to win every game, or at least playing well in every game, when you're a contending team, the reality is it's hard to have an acceptable loss, because when you're a contending team, by definition, you are very good. And what is an acceptable loss? An acceptable loss is a loss where you go out there, you play really hard, you execute really well, and maybe the shots just don't go down and the other team has like a hot night or whatever. That sounds like, and you're playing another really good team. That sounds like something that should happen more often, and yet the reality is it doesn't. The reality is most of the time, like, losses are like, oh, the effort wasn't there tonight. Or, oh, they were futzing around tonight. Or, oh, they didn't take it nearly as seriously as the other team tonight. It does feel like just us sometimes. And I do think the Knicks raise it to even another level that is over and above what you're going to get from a lot of these other teams. But the reality is, like, it happens a lot. And that's just the nature of an 82-game regular season. So, to your point, Freeway, let this win matter just as much as any of the losses. It should. Anthony Perino, what's going on, man? Is there any scenario in which Diawara could Hartenstein himself and play so good that we can't keep him? It might be a question for the cap guys, but no. So there is no scenario, because the difference is that the Knicks were limited to what they could pay as a Hartenstein. They could not pay him more than 17 point whatever it was $1 million as his first year salary. They can give Mo Diawara 25% max this summer if they want. He's a restricted free agent. So that it's like if a team is going to come and offer him a big money deal, like they will have the opportunity to match. I think the better question is there a team out there? You've probably a cap space team, or even honestly, like here's the question. Here's the only question for me with Diawara. Is there any team out there that would dip into their their non-taxpayer mid-level exception? And I say dip into it, not give all of it. But is there any team that would dip into their non-taxpayer mid-level exception to try to sign Diawara away? I suspect that the Knicks will bring him back on a deal that is going to surprise a lot of people because I think it's going to be a reasonable deal. Thanks, Anthony. David Crockett with another one. Thank you, David. Appreciate you, man. Cat is experiencing the love he's always sought by doing the dirty work. Figuring out New York is better with 12-19, Cat, than 25-7 with 5 turnovers, Cat. Yes, they are better with this version of Cat than the more volatile one, and the one that is a higher ceiling on some possessions but a much lower floor on other possessions. And the key to that, of course, is on defense. And the boards. Rebounding is part of defense. It feels like they still need to unlock him a little bit more. And yet, I would be curious, like, for a more sophisticated basketball watcher to rewatch today's game and, like, highlight for me all of the instances where Cat had an offensive possession where he didn't take a shot and maybe didn't even touch the ball, but his presence in terms of how they were guarding him directly led to something else. I mean, I could probably do it, but I trust others' eyes more than me. But my guess is that there were probably a lot of those sorts of possessions. So, but there will be other defenses that I think he's going to need to make tough shots against. Did he have to take tough shots tonight? No. But we know he can take them. We know he can make them. So sometimes that's going to be a part of the equation. But to your larger point, David, I completely agree with you. Thank you, man. Tony, what's going on, Tony? I would give Diawara the Deuce contract. My guess is that the Knicks would not mind handing him that contract. Would he take it? We'll see. Bill Peterfriend, thank you for the generous super chat. Most satisfying win of the year. Ooh. Most satisfying win of the year. Such a specific word. My inclination, and it has maybe less to do with the game than the fact that I was like hosting Christmas, is probably the Christmas game. The Christmas game from a satisfaction standpoint, that was really awesome because it made the whole day, like I relaxed and enjoyed the rest of my day so much more than I would have if they had lost. That's number one for me. But again, I don't even know if satisfying is the right word. It's up there. It's up there. It's again in the conversation for best 5 wins of the year for sure. Maybe top 3. Thanks, Bill. Good question. Appreciate the generosity, man. DJPKNY. Lots of letters there. Macri, you have now revoked your right to engage in the I can't wait for us to blow this up talk going forward until the playoffs are over. It's ride or die time. No more being sucked into our traumatized past, please and thank you. I will abide. The dude abides. Again, learn my lesson. They pushed the wrong button on the wrong night. It happens. I know now to be better, and I will not let them suck me into that vortex again. Thank you, DJ. Appreciate the generosity. Hush Zoo. I'm glad this win was a dominant win and not just a 2-point win. I needed the reminder to myself, the fan base, the national public. This team, deep down, is a top 3 team. I will be interested to see if their odds to win the title change, because we went through it. Me and Sean went through it on Weekly Wagers last week. And I think I'm going to be back on Weekly Wagers on Tuesday with Sean. I should be, unless Mentz is on. One of us will be on. But anyway, Sean will go through the updated title odds. I would guess they're going to go back to maybe plus 1,300. They'd fall into plus 1,500. I bet you they'll go back to plus 1,300. Should they be higher? I don't know. Do they deserve to be? I mean, the Detroit part of it's tough because Detroit is that those games have been so one-sided. Are they a top 3 championship contender? I think they're top 5. Sorry, I'm really thinking about that. I think they're top 5. Top 5 is high. No, they're top 5. They should be top 5. Yeah, top 5. Thanks, Hush. Kevin Danishevsky with another one. 52 win pace with the tiebreaker. I'm confident we hold off Cleveland. And with the cupcake mid-March coming up, I also like us versus Boston. Also, can Mo be the best Nick value pick ever? Well, the best Nick value pick ever is a gentleman who was taken with the first pick in the second round. And let's see if I remember off the top of my head what pick that was. I'm going to go with the 9th pick. Let's see. I think he was the 9th pick. Why is this coming up? Willis Reed stats. Willis Reed, 9th pick? 10th pick. It's off by 1. God damn it. Willis Reed was the greatest value pick. I know what you're saying, like first round picks like need not apply for this because then you get into Clyde. Obviously you get into Willis. Trying to think who else would even be in the conversation, to be honest. Guys that were drafted by the team. This is actually a really good this is a good, like, but if we're just talking about second round picks, like, yeah, sure, he's in the conversation. I think Deuce, again, second round being what it is now as opposed to second round when Willis played. But like modern second round, like I think Deuce it has the title, but Mo has a chance to surpass him, sure. Yeah. Thanks, Kev. That's a good one. Greatest Nick value draft pick ever. I'm really gonna think about that one. Okay. I think another one from Kevin. I think Mo Baby by New Grimes without the crush. Very funny. I can't go back to the 50s for some of these guys. A lot of the great players in Knicks history were not drafted by the Knicks. That's the problem. Oh, honestly, who probably, has Mark Jackson. Mark Jackson was taken 18th, and that dude was rookie of the year and made an all-star team for us. So Jackson deserves to be in that conversation. Thanks, Kev. Nickelodeon, Suns had Matrix. We got Neo, Diawara, Aura the One. I love it. We got Neo. That's fantastic. I hope, man, I hope this Diawara thing keeps going. I really do. It's a lot of fun. He's great. He's really good. Thanks, Nickelodeon. Hush Zoo with another one. What's crazy about these Mo shots? If the bounce went the right way on a lot of these shots, we're looking at least 5 to 6 3-pointers made. Yes. Can't stop raving about him now. Nor should you. Thanks, Hush. J Mems. What's going on, J Mems? Huge win. Yes. Was at the Garden today with my kid who is 7, and just stellar two-way performance from the end of the first quarter on. Garden was fired up. Let's go Knicks. 1, that's awesome. I would love nothing more than for either of my daughters at this point to want to go to a basketball game and actually watch the Knicks. Alas, I think I'll be waiting a while for one of those things to happen. Very cool that you got to be there today, and it was a huge win. And the Garden was absolutely fired up, although I think there was some nervous folks at some points during that game. Second, for anybody wondering why my phone is going off, I have it on Do Not Disturb, but I have my wife as she can override the Do Not Disturb. She automatically overrides the Do Not Disturb. So she's texting me about when might dinner be happening. So I texted her back. Thanks, J Mims. Orket, what's going on, Orket? That stretch in the second when Cat started driving and actually kicking out to counter the collapsing defense might have been transformational. I love to see it. You love to see it. Everything. I wrote it down right here. 25-21. Cat dime to Mo after turnover on the double team. So first possession of that second quarter, Cat gets hard doubled in the corner. He turns it over. Not great. Next 2 possessions, the way and DJ was all over this game today. He tweeted about it, saying that they used him. It was more in the in an action basically, and they got him going. It was awesome. It was awesome. It shows you, again, and this speaks to what I was talking about before, how Cat can have his fingerprints all over a game, even if he doesn't have a big scoring night. And it's just reminding me to check. It's funny, only 1 assist, but I'm not going back. Cat was very helpful with the offense. 1 assist is a misnomer. 7 Brunson assists, by the way. Nice Brunson, really nice Brunson game. Can we give some credit to Brunson? He had a really good game. Thanks, Orcat. Armand, what's going on, Armand? How you doing, buddy? Josh Hart is this team. Love them. Can annoy incredibly. Yeah, he's like the perfect avatar. He's the perfect avatar for the Knicks. He is the Knicks in so many ways. Completely agree. Thanks, Armand. Albie Square, what's going on, bud? Sean said this on After School last week. Getting too high or low during the season is not really beneficial. We'll figure out who the Knicks are in April and May. The season doesn't really tell us much, in my opinion. I'm not disagreeing with you or Sean. It's just, it's a difficult conversation for me to have because both are slippery slopes. The season means everything is an incredibly slippery slope, as we have found out recently. The season means nothing, though. That's also a slippery slope. And I know you're not literally saying the season means nothing, and neither is Sean, but it does beg the question of what is appropriate to take from a regular season of NBA basketball? Clearly we should take some things from the regular season, but where's the dividing line? How big of a gray area is it? I don't pretend to have the answer, but I think it's an interesting question. Anyway. Thanks, Albie. Oliver Sykes, thank you for the multiple contributions. Exciting win, but I feel like we're a 4th seed. We can beat top teams, but not sure about a 7-game series, especially with the Pistons. We have trouble with top defenses that don't give Brunson space. So I'll push back a little bit. For as much as I am with you on their trouble with the Pistons, they have absolutely had trouble with the Pistons. The Spurs are a top defense. The numbers say the Spurs are very much a top defense. They are. Hold on one sec. I mean, they're ranked 3rd in the league, behind only OKC and Detroit. After them, it's Miami, Houston. The Knicks, they showed you what they could do against Houston. They've shown you what they could do against Miami. Toronto is 6th. They've shown you what they could do against Toronto. Boston's 7th. They've shown you what they could do against Boston. And oh, by the way, the Knicks are 8th. So, like, I think really, Oliver, and thank you for the very generous contribution, man. Like you say, the Spurs don't really have a dominant backcourt. I'm assuming you mean. I'm not really sure what you mean by that, actually. So let me read you restated your comment. So let me read it. So we destroy teams that don't play defense and Brunson can't get space to operate. The Spurs don't really have a dominant backcourt. Detroit just kicks our ass and Cat is just dumb. Cat is not the smartest player in the world all the time. He can be very smart and he can be very engaged and he can play within himself and he can absolutely be a massive contributor to winning basketball, as we saw today and as we have seen time and again since he has come to this team. Has he done it as consistently as I would like and as many people would like? No. You can't call him a dumb player. He has given you too much evidence that he's not. He's an inconsistent player, especially when it comes to being in the moment and playing within himself and all those sorts of things. As far as Detroit just kicks our ass, yes, they've kicked our ass this year. It is a hurdle they need to get over. I do think the Pistons are in their heads to some extent. Do I think Detroit as a basketball team, in terms of like the personnel that is on the roster, to say nothing of the coach, is a team that the Knicks are like incapable of getting past? No, I don't look at them as anywhere the same way I looked at Boston the last couple of years. As a basketball team, they are not as good as that. Now, they have something going for them, and they're clearly playing a special brand of basketball right now. And they clearly have confidence against the Knicks. That's worth a lot. It is not worth everything. And then the only part of your comment that I don't really get is you say the Spurs don't really have a dominant backcourt. Like, you could argue that Stephen Castle and De'Aaron Fox have been as good a offensive backcourt, certainly in the league, as we've seen this year. And then defensively, Castle's a fucking nightmare to deal with. And then they have other guys to throw on you. Like again, you don't get to be the third best defense. Now, do they have an Asar Thompson? Do they have an Amen Thompson? No, they do not have those guys. And if you're going to tell me, and I'll end on this, if you're going to tell me that the presence of Asar Thompson by him, that alone is enough to swing it for you, for the Knicks could beat a team like the Spurs, the Knicks can't beat a team like the Pistons because of the presence of an Asar Thompson to throw on Jalen Brunson, I will hear that. Forgive me, though. I have too much faith in this basketball player, Jalen Brunson. I have too much faith in this guy. I have seen this guy do too much. I have seen him overcome too much. I have seen him figure out stuff and learn on the fly too much. Nobody processes the game better than him. Nobody problem solves better than him. And Asar is great at problem solving in his own right. The notion that like we're going to go into a series against Detroit and we're going to see Jalen Brunson average like 22 points a game on a 45 effective field goal percentage, I'm not buying that until it happens. If it happens, I'll be the first person to sit here and be like, you know what, Oliver, you're right. But I don't see it. I think Brunson figures it out, and I think they figure it out. They can figure it out as a team. They can. We'll see if they do. Thanks, man. By the way, I'm terrible with these chats. You got to laugh, but I love the Knicks and don't want to be a downer. No, listen, no one. Here's what I lost the ability to do. I lost the right to get on anyone this season for being a downer. I lost that right. I lost that privilege. I no longer have that privilege at all. So if you're skeptical of this team and you're not drinking the orange and blue Kool-Aid based on this win against the Spurs, I'm not getting on you about that. I do think, though, and this really is like I think the theme of this post game. You have to consider the whole body of evidence. If we're being fair, and I understand matchups matter a lot, they matter a ton. But if we're being fair, this team deserves more of the benefit of the doubt than I've probably given, than I certainly have given them, and that a lot of people have probably given them. Thanks, Oliver. Appreciate the contributions and the generosity. Danishevsky with another one. JB credit, his end of the first turned the game. Thank you, somebody, for mentioning it. That stretch at the end of the first quarter was, given the situation and given the opponent, I would argue it was every bit as impressive as his 22-point quarter against the Bucks, because the Bucks stink defensively. This defense is a real defense. Thanks, Kev. Drew Badow with another one. Facts. We aren't having any of that convo without Brunson's first quarter single-handedly single left-handy comeback. Yeah, it was awesome. They were down by double figures in the first quarter, and they looked like they could not do anything. And then Brunson was like, I got this. Every great team, it doesn't matter who they are, every great team needs an I got this guy. The Knicks have as good an I got this guy as there is in a league. And that's why they're contenders more than any of this other shit that we're talking about. All due respect. Appreciate that, Andrew. And then J Mac, when Mo got drafted, most draft experts didn't have him in their top 100. Shout out to the Knicks front office for the find. Interesting conversation that I look forward to taking place over the next couple days, weeks, months. Where would Mohamed Diawara go in a redraft? I texted, it's someone else in the Knicks Film School faculty. I'll leave this for them to tell if they want to tell it. I texted somebody about like, hey, or where do you think Diawara goes in a redraft? And my thought was like, is he in the top 20, top 15, top 20 conversation? Which is my gut feeling was like, he's got to be probably top 20, right? And not the faculty member, but a faculty member who talked to somebody else who knows a lot more about the draft than I do, push back like, hey, I'm not sure he's in the top 30. I think it's an interesting conversation. Would he go top 20? Would he go top 25? Would he be at the very top of the second round? I think that's the lowest, would be top of the second round. But to me, you look at the tools. You look at the tools that you can't teach, and then the other stuff we're seeing and the confidence. I'm hard pressed to find 30 guys that were taken in this draft that I'm taking over Diawara right now. Thanks, Jay. And then another one. Brunson hit a series winning dagger over Asar. Give JB a full series versus anyone, and he'll figure it out. That's kind of where I'm at. It doesn't mean it won't be hard. It doesn't mean he won't have moments. But the other thing, as we know in the NBA today, you don't have to. It's not about one defender. You have to defend great, as a wise man once said, you defend great players with your team. So they're going to have to defend Jalen Brunson with their team. And that also means when you defend Jalen Brunson with your team, it means Jalen Brunson's team is going to have to get involved. And it can't be just Jalen Brunson. So, and on and down we go. Thanks, Jay. Okay, that is it. It's funny. Somebody was asking me recently, how long do post games go? I'm like, yeah, some of them could be like an hour. Others go a little bit longer. This was definitely the little bit longer. And I made my dinner time reservation at my living room table or dining room table of 6 p.m. with 3 minutes to spare. Everybody, thank you for tuning in to another Knicks Film School postgame show. Please do help us out. We got a lot of kind comments, a lot of very generous super chats tonight. If you're someone that isn't in the super chat game, the best way you can help us out, take an extra minute of your day and give us a 5-star rating wherever you get your podcasts. And if you really want to be kind, write a little review. Certainly hit that like button if you're watching on YouTube. And if you're not subscribed to the YouTube channel, go ahead and subscribe to YouTube. You can also follow us wherever you get your social media at Knicks Film School. That's SKOOL. Don't forget about that mood.com, the functional cannabis gummy company. Use code KFS. Help us out in that way too. And bonus content on patreon.com, of course, and the Knicks Film School newsletter on Substack. I can't wait to write a newsletter about this game. It's going to be fun. I think that's it. I'm not going to keep my wife waiting any longer. I love y'all, and I'll talk to you soon. Peace out.
Must be 21 or older. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER. Connecticut, call 888-789-7777. Massachusetts, call 800-327-5050. New York, call 877-8-HOPE-NY. Maryland, visit mdgamblinghelp.org. Not available in all states. Terms apply. See the Fanatics Sportsbook app.